Hey guys, welcome to JavaScript Functions Crash Course from beginner to pro. So in this series, we'll be talking about everything you need to know about JavaScript functions from basic to advanced. Hey guys, so let's see what we'll be learning in the whole series. We'll be starting with a basic lecture, Introduction to Functions. Then we'll go to functions with parameters, return values in functions, console.log with return values, default function arguments, arrow function, which will be an interesting chapter, and then a tricky chapter calling a function inside a function. Now you might have some questions about who I am and why I am doing this. I am Deb, a full stack software engineer working at a multinational company. Over the past few years, I have been working with technologies like Spring Boot, React, and AWS. So yes, you are in good hands. As a software engineer, we all know it's a passionate career, and software engineers are always ready to contribute, whether it's through open source projects or by teaching others with free content. We love to give back. Software engineering has changed my life, providing me with many opportunities, and I want to give back something to the community. So I hope that answers your questions. Now let's talk about the learning process. While learning, if you make a mistake, it's absolutely fine. That means you are learning. As a programmer, you will encounter errors and bugs in your code. They are completely normal. Always read the error message, try to understand it, and fix it yourself by searching it on internet. And if you think you have not understood something, that's absolutely fine too. Rewatch the video, read the documentation from GitHub, try it yourself, and boom, you will get it. So with that mindset, let's start this exciting journey together. Wish you a happy coding journey with me. Before we dive into coding, let's set up the essential software will be needed for this course. Having the right tools will make your learning journey smoother and more enjoyable. So we'll need two things. One is a code editor and one is a JavaScript runtime, which will help us to run JavaScript. So we will use VS Code as our main code editor. So you can go to Visual Studio Code official website and you can download this software. It's completely free and you can install it. And next, you will be needed a JavaScript runtime environment to run JavaScript. So here we have Node.js. So you can go to Node.js official website, which is now nodejs.org. So download this LTS version, which is a long-term support version, and install it. And once you are done with your installation, go to terminal and type node-v and enter, and it will show you your installed Node.js version in your machine. So now I'm in VS Code and let me show you one great extension which will help you to run your code. Okay, so now I'm in VS Code. So click here in this extension place. Okay, so now search for code runner and you will get this extension. Okay, this code runner. So install it. So restart your VS Code and then you can check a run button. Now if I write some JavaScript code, so let me create a new JavaScript file. Okay, new file, index.js, and then console.log hello world. So now to run this code, I just have to click on this run button. So once I click this run button, you can check the output inside the console. Hey guys, we have this GitHub repo where we have all the course materials, documents, all this coding examples. So I'll give the link in the description. You can visit this GitHub repo. Just go to this functions in JavaScript and here you will get all the materials. So if you go to the first one, Introduction to Basic Functions, so it will be the material for the first lecture. And we have done for all the lectures the same way. You will get all the important points, you will get all the coding examples, so you can use this as a reference. You can take notes from here. So go to this repo. I'll give the link in the description and clone this repo to your local machine, or you can download this one and take advantage of this resource. Hey guys, welcome to this lecture Introduction to Basic Functions in JavaScript. So what we'll learn in this video: the importance of functions, how to create and call basic functions. So okay, now let's start with why we need functions. The functions help solve the problem of code repetition. Without functions, you might end up writing the same code multiple times, making your code base larger and harder to maintain. Okay, so let's check one example of it. So okay, here I have written some code. The console.log hello world 3 times. So as you know, it will print hello world in console 3 times. Okay, if I run this code, yeah, it will print hello world 3 times. So now we can reduce this code repetition and we can organize this code into a single function. So let's see how we can do it. Okay, so using a function, we can simplify this like this. Okay, so now let me write some code. Okay, so for now, I'm just commenting down this previous code. So I'm just selecting the whole code and then edit and then Google block comment. It will comment down all the code. So now let me write function print hello world and then parenthesis and then inside curly braces console.log hello world. Okay, so now this is our function ready. Okay, so now if I run this code, what will happen? So if I run this code, so nothing will happen. Let me clear the console, clear. So you can right click on this console and clear output, and then if I run this code, it will nothing gonna happen. Okay, so we just have created function, so we have to call this function to run. So how we can call this function? We just have to write the function name print hello world with parenthesis and then we'll put semicolon. And now if I run this, you can check hello world is printed. Okay, so now let's read. So creating a basic function. So in JavaScript, you define a function using function keyword. So we have written like this using function keyword. Okay, here are basic simple function. Okay, this one we have just written. Okay, this function named print hello world outputs hello world to the console. So as you can check, it output hello world in the console. Okay, so now calling the function, I already told you, if you create the function, nothing gonna happen. You have to call this function also. So to execute the function, you simply call it by its name followed by parenthesis. Okay, followed by its name and parenthesis. So this function can be called as many times as needed, demonstrating the concept of code reusability. So now you can say, now if I want to print this hello world 3 times, so I have to call this function 3 times. Okay, so now if I run this, it will print hello world 3 times. But you are saying that I'm saying like with function we can reduce the code, we can make it modular, but now we are ending up with lots of line, more than 3 lines. Okay, so now because it's a small function, okay, that's why it is the case. But think, I want to do this, I want to print console.log hello world 3 times. So what can I do? I just can, inside this function, I can add hello world console.log hello world 3 times. And now I don't have to call this function 3 times. I can call this function 1 time. Okay, let me clear the console. And now if I run this code, let me run it. You can check hello world is printed 3 times. Okay, hello world is printed 3 times. So now you don't have to, so now you want to print hello world more times. You can say you want to print 6 times. So you just have to call this function one more time. So it's just 2 lines. We are calling this function and now you can check 6 times hello world is printed. Okay, so if you want to do with this, you have to write like this: console.log, 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 again console.log, console.log. So you have to do is 6 times. Okay, so now if you want to print this hello world 9 times, so again you have to, for this old method, you have to write hello world more 3 times. Okay, so you have to print hello world almost 9 times you have to write. And here we just, what we can do, we just have to add one more function call, and if I run this, you can check it will print hello world 9 times. Okay, so let's read. So why use functions? So functions help organize the code into manageable sections. So if you check this code and this code, this is more manageable, this is more organized. Okay, so they allow us to perform specific tasks multiple times without rewriting the same code. So here you are rewriting the same code again and again, but here you are not rewriting the same code again and again. You are just calling the function. Okay, so now few things to remember. Functions are building blocks in JavaScript, making your code more modular and organized. A well-named function makes your code easier to read and maintain. So okay, it's a code print hello world. Okay, so what can we do to make it more readable? We can write the name like print hello world 3 times. So now anybody will read this function name. If I call this function here, if I replace the name, so it will be a meaningful name like print hello world 3 times. So anybody can guess like what this function do. This function print hello world 3 times. So if I run this, okay, it printed hello world 3 times. Okay, so that is important to use a good name for your function, a meaningful name. Okay, so now practice is key to mastering functions. So try creating and calling your own simple functions. Okay, so let's end this video. For now, stay tuned for more on functions with parameters in the next part of our Learning Lab series. Good luck. Hey everyone, quick announcement. Our Discord community is growing fast and we are about to hit 10,000 members. In our community, you will find active mentors and fellow students who are always ready to help you with your programming doubts or tech career questions. We have dedicated channels for Python, Java, Spring Boot, then Cloud, then DevOps and more. It's a fantastic place to learn, share and grow together. So if you have any questions or just want to be a part of an awesome tech community, join us now. The link is in the description. See you there. Hey guys, in previous video we have already learned how we can create a function. So this is a practice session where we'll be creating two functions. So one is a login function and another is logout function. So basically they will print user logged in and user logged out in the console. Okay, some simple function. Okay, let's start with login function. Okay, so how can we create a function? To create a function we have to use this function keyword and then we have to give the function name. So we'll use a proper name, user logged in. Okay, and then you have to give parenthesis and then inside curly braces we have to write the method function body. So it will be console.log and user logged in. Okay, so now our user logged in function ready. So now if we run this code, nothing is going to happen. We have to call this function. Okay, user logged in, I'm calling it. So the function name and then parenthesis. Okay, so now if I run this code, you can check user logged in is printed. So now the same way we'll create this logout function. Okay, so let's do this. So we have to use this function keyword and then the function name, which will be user logged out and then parenthesis and then curly braces, and inside curly braces we have to write the body console.log and the message user logged out. Okay, so now if I run this, I have to call the function user logged out and then parenthesis. Okay, so now if I run it, it will print user logged out. Okay, so okay, that's it for this video, and here your task will be to create few functions. Try to create some functions with some real life examples, what you can think of. Okay, so that's your task. Do it and good luck. Hey guys, welcome to this lecture exploring functions with parameters in JavaScript. So what we'll learn: the power of parameters in functions, creating and using functions with parameters. So we already learned what is this function is, but we don't know what is this parameter. So I'll teach you in this video. The power of parameters in functions. Parameters enable functions to perform operations using different input values, enhancing their reusability and functionality. Okay, let's learn this with an example. So I have created a function function name is greet, and it will print hello John in the console. So now if I call this function greet, and if I run this code, so what will happen? It will print hello John. But I want to make it like whenever I will give it a new name, it will print like hello Bob or hello any other name. It can be your name or any other name. Okay, so how can I do it? So that at that place I need the help of this parameter. Okay, so let's check creating function with a parameter. So here is a simple function that takes a parameter. Okay, so function great, and we have to put this parameter in this parenthesis. So if I put here the name variable, okay, I'm putting this name, this is a variable. Okay, so this thing is our parameter. This thing is our parameter. So now I can customize this as hello and then plus and a name. Okay, so now if I call this function, let's check. If I call this function like this, what is going to happen? So if I run this, you can check it is like hello undefined. Why it is showing as undefined? Because I have not put any value inside this greet function. So I have to put a value. So let's see how we can do that. So calling a function with an argument. So when invoking the function, you provide an argument that replaces the parameter. Okay, so now inside this, so here it is a parameter, and while calling this function, so let's try to understand again. While creating this function, we have to give a parameter, which is the parameter is name, and now while calling this function, we have to give an argument, okay, which will replace this parameter and print this. So now if I put an argument Bob, okay, and if I run this code now, so it will print hello Bob. Okay, so as many time I can call this, I can call this John, and it will also print hello Bob and hello John. Okay, so this thing here, this name, if I write down comment, this name is our parameter. Okay, this name is our parameter, and this Bob or John, let me write down this Bob or this John, they are argument. Okay, they are argument. So okay, now let's read. So each time the grid is called with a different argument, it outputs a personalized message. Okay, like this. Now we'll check one more example. Hello world with a parameter, extending the hello world example to include a parameter. So if you can remember, in our first lecture we have created a print hello world function which was printing hello world in console one time, and then we have upgraded it to 3 times. So now what we'll do, we'll add this parameter with this function, and now this function now accepts a times parameter determining how many times hello world is printed. So whenever you are calling this function, so now it will look like this, print hello world, and if you give 1 as argument, it will print hello world 1 time. If you give 3, it will print a hello world 3 times. Okay, so let's create this function. So now let me comment out this print hello world. So now let me create, we start with this function keyword, and then the function name print hello world, and then you have to give a parenthesis, then curly braces. So now inside this parenthesis, we have to mention our parameter, which is times here. Okay, so now what we'll do, we'll create a simple for loop. Okay, so now inside this for loop, let's start let I is equal to 1. I'll start from 1, and then it will go till less than is equal to times and I plus plus for each iteration, and then we just have to console.log hello world. Okay, so now if I run this code, what will happen? So now if I run this code, nothing will happen. If I run this code, you can check. Nothing is happened for this. So I have to call this function. How can I call this? I have to write print hello world, and then I have to give a value, which I am giving 1. So I want print hello world print 1 time. So if I do this, so you can check hello world is printed 1 time. Okay, so for now I'm just commenting out the previous code. I'm selecting the whole previous code and then go to edit and then toggle block comments. It will comment down the all code. Now I'm going to the console and right click clear output. It will clear the console. Now if I run this code, you can check hello world is printed 1 time. Okay, so now if I give 2, so if I run this, you can check hello world is printed 2 times. If I give 3, so hello world is printed 3 times. Okay, so now let's read calling hello world function. So invoke the function with different numbers. Print hello world 1, print hello world once, and with 3 print hello world 3 times. Okay, now let's read simple yet powerful. Okay, this is some summary you can say. So using parameters in functions open up numerous possibilities, allowing the same function to perform various tasks based on the input provided. Okay, so now let's summarize all our learning. Parameters greatly enhance the flexibility of functions. Always use meaningful names for parameters to make your code clear. Experiment with different arguments to see how they affect your function's behavior. Okay, so before ending this video, one last thing. So this times while creating this function, this times is called as parameter, and while calling this function, when you put this 3, so this is argument. Okay, so that's it for this video. I hope you have enjoyed this video. So you can like this video, you can subscribe to our channel, and if you have any query, you can write down your question in the comment section. Hey guys, welcome to this lecture, understanding function return values in JavaScript. So let's check what we'll learn. Functions with return values, differences between functions that return values and those that don't. Okay, so functions with multiple parameters. So let's create a function with multiple parameter. So let me create a function for product of 2 numbers. Okay, let's create. So first we have to write function keyword and then function name product of 2 numbers, and then we know we can give parameters while declaring a function. So I will do a and b. So now it will print console.log a into b, so the product of a and b. Okay, it will print. So now if I call this function product of 2 numbers, and if I put 2 values 1 and 2, if I run this, it will print 2. If I do this 3 into 2, so it will print 6. Okay, so now let's check functions that do not return values. Okay, so the above function prints the product of a and b if we try to store its output in a variable. So I want to store this output, this 6, in a variable. Is it possible? Let's check. So let me create one variable, which is let product is equal to, and we'll call this function. Okay, we'll call this here. So let's check what is gonna happen. So now if I do this, okay, let me just clear output first, and if I run this, you can check 6 is printed because we have called this function. Now we'll try to print this product. Okay, console.log, and we'll try to print product. So if we do this, okay, let's do it more meaningful. So product and then plus this product, it will print this let's check what is going to happen. So let me clear this console, and if I run this code, you can check product is showing as undefined. So this product value is showing as undefined. So this value is just printing 6, but it is not returning a value which we can store in a product. I know it's a little bit confusing at start, but let's read for now and let's explore. So the above function prints the product of A and B. If we try to save its output in a variable like this, here the product is undefined because product of two numbers does not return a value. So my question is how we can make a function which will return a value then. Okay. So now let's check some building function first. Okay. Then we'll explore this. So let me check this built-in function math.max. So what actually it does, if I give few numbers, it will give me the maximum number from them. Okay. So let me create one variable which is maximum. And if I call this function math.max, and if I put some value, okay, 1, 2, 3, 8, 10, and then 33. And if I print this maximum console.log maximum, and if I print this, for now we'll do like this to make it easy to understand. So it will be maximum. Okay, maximum. If I run this, you can check the maximum is 33. It is printed. So this math.max is returning a value which we can store in this maximum variable, and then we can easily use the variable, or we can print it, or we can do another operations with it. Okay, so now creating a function that returns a value. So how we can do that? So we can modify our function to return the product of two numbers with this return keyword. Okay, what we have to do? So for now I'm just commenting out this max function. Okay, I just selected whole max function code, and then I'm going this edit and Google block comment. Okay, it will comment down the whole code. So now what I have to do? So instead of this console log, I have to return this. So let me create a variable. Let product, okay, is equal to A into B. Okay, and now I will just return this product from this function. Okay, so now if I call this function with the value, so instead of printing this 6, it will return this 6 and it will store into this variable. Okay, so if I run this code, you can check. So this 6 is not printed now because I have disabled this console.log. Instead of console.log, we are now returning a value. So it is returning a value to this product, and this product is printing here. Previously it was printing as undefined. Okay, so now here you can check. We can modify our function to return the product of two numbers, function product numbers, and then same, and then return A into B. So we can directly do this. Okay, so if I comment down this code, and if I, instead of returning this product, and we can directly do A into B, return A into B, it will do the same thing. So if I run this code, it will do the same thing. Okay, we are directly returning the value. So now the function's result can be stored in variable. Okay, let's product result is equal to the same thing we have done. And now let's do one more thing. Like now we are storing the value of this product here. Okay, so now this is a number, and now we know we can do operation with number. So we'll print like this. We'll create one more console.log, and now we'll do product into 10. Okay, so what we can do, we can do product into 10 here. So let's check what is gonna happen. So it is showing this like it's a typo, that's why. Okay, let me give some space. Okay, now if I run this code, you can check. First 6 is printed as product, and now product into 10. I have just done this into 10, so it is showing as 60. Okay, so that's So simple. Okay, so now example, calculating the sum of three numbers. So now let me comment down the whole code and we'll try another example. So I just selected the all code and then edit and then toggle block comment. It will comment down the whole code. And now we'll create one more function. For this function, keyword, and then the function name, calculate sum of three numbers, and then we'll put parameter as a, b, and c inside parentheses, and then inside curly braces we'll return a plus b plus c. Okay, so we can also do this like this. Let sum is equal to a plus b plus c, and then we can return this sum also. Okay, instead of doing it directly, we can store it in a sum variable and we can return that. Both will work same. Okay, so now if I call this function console, sorry, let me create a variable, let sum of three number, and let me call this function calculate sum of three numbers, and then I can put three values. Okay, sorry, here I have done a b b, not it's a b plus c. Okay, so now let me put 2, 4 and 1. Okay, let's see. Now let's print this console.log and we'll do the sum of three number, and now we'll call this sum of three number variable. So if I run this, you can check now the value is 7. Okay, so that's it for this video. I hope things are clear for you. Okay, now let's read more. The function returns the sum of three parameters, what we have done. And one more thing to revise. So here with this function keyword, I can declare a function. I have to put the function keyword, then this function name, and then this parenthesis, and then inside curly braces I have to put the body. With this return keyword, I can return a value from this function, and if you do console.log, it will not gonna return any value. Okay, so now this thing, this a, b, c, those are called parameters, and if you check this 2, 4, 1, those things we have put while calling this function, those things called argument. Okay, so let's summarize all our learning from the first. So function, a block of code designed to perform a particular task. Okay, a block of code designed to perform a particular task, defined using the function keyword. Yes, defined using this function keyword. Okay, parameter, a variable listed as part of the function's definition. So it's the function definition, and a, b, c, all those are mentioned here. Okay, so now let's go to argument. I already told you, like while calling this function, when you put those values, we put arguments which will replace those parameters. Okay, so the actual value passed to the function. Okay, the actual value passed to the function, this is argument. And now the function declaration, the process of defining a function's name, parameters, and body. Okay, so now function invocation or call, so executing a function using its name and providing necessary arguments. So how we call a function? By its name and providing necessary arguments. Okay, so return value, the output that a function sends back to its caller. So when we are calling this function, it is sending a value to its caller. Okay, I hope you have learned something new from this video. I hope you like this video, and if you like my work, you can subscribe to the channel, you can like this video, you can comment down your query in the comment section, and good luck. Hey guys, this is a extension of previous video. You have learned about this return values in a JavaScript function, but have you ever thought, like, we inside this function, instead of this console.log, if we go to the first code example, instead of this console.log, now we are using this return value. Okay, so can we use this console.log and this return value together? Can we do that? So let's check in our code, and then I will tell you one important thing that is gonna useful for your entire software engineering career. If you want to build any big application, that time it will be needed for any debugging purpose. Okay, so let me clear the console and let me run the code. So if you don't know about this code, if you want to understand this code, so you can go to this previous lecture of this series. Okay, so now if I run this code, basically what it's doing, it's giving me this function is returning the sum of these three values, and then I'm storing the value into sum of three number variable, and then I'm just printing them. Okay, so for now our function is only returning a value. Okay, let me remove this commented code. For now our function is just returning a value. So can we do console.log and this return value together? Yes, we can. Let's try that. Okay, so I will write console.log and then I will type this sum, and let's check what is going to happen. I just console.log this sum and then I already returned it. So let's check what is going to happen. If I run this code, you can check this sum is printed. Okay, this sum is printed, and then this sum of three number, this line also printed. Okay, so now why I have written this console.log? So inside a big application, it is really useful. So let's me write some more console.log to show you how it will be useful in a function. So console.log, and we can write like this, like, okay, we have written this function name at, okay, and now we can also do console.log, and then we can give the values like a and b and c, and then we can print the values like a b, sorry, a plus, then a b, sorry, what it's writing some extra thing. So a, then comma, then b, and then c. Okay, and then here also we can write this like the function name and then the value. Okay, why I'm doing this? Okay, why I'm doing this, let's check. Okay, so I have just added one console.log. This is the function name. Okay, let's write function here also. So this is the function name, and then I have written the parameters like a, b, and c and their values, and then what I have written, calculate the sum of three numbers, this function, and the final value. Okay, the value of sum we can also define like this, the sum and this. So if I run this code now, if I let me clear the console, so let me clear the console. If I run this code, you can check what a proper message we got. Okay, so we got this function, this. So in a big application, if there is any problem or we want to check something is working properly, okay, so that time think like in a case where a function is calling and you don't know exactly where is this problem happening, okay, in which function or at which part this problem is happening. So you can check your console like that. We can check the proper messages this function is calling, okay, the function name and all the things, the parameters it is using. Okay, so maybe in a big application user is giving some input in a form, or like you are giving some input to the backend which is going. Okay, so that time you can check what are the proper values it is going, and then it is showing this calculate this function and the sum value is 7. Okay, this thing. So this is the beauty of function. Hey guys, welcome to this lecture, default function arguments in JavaScript. So what we will learn in this video? Understanding default function arguments, creating functions with default parameters. The function without default arguments. First, let's define a function print string that takes two parameters, string and number of times, and it prints the string the number of times provided by the user. Okay, so let me write down the function. The function print string, and then we'll have two parameter. One is string str and then number of times. Okay, and now with curly braces, let me write a loop, for loop. So let I is equal to 0, I less than number of times, and I plus plus. And now inside this loop body, console.log string, okay, str, the string we're gonna use. So, okay, it's a simple function, so which will take two parameters. One is a string and one is a number of times, and it has a loop which will run till the number of times and it will bring this string. Okay, so let me run this code. Okay, print string, and then I will give two arguments. Okay, one is hello world, and then I will give 3. Okay, so now if I run this code, you can check hello world is printed 3 times. If I give 5 here instead of 3, it will print 5 times, and our code is working perfectly, our loop is working perfectly, our function is working properly. Now the problem is, if you call this function with just one argument, it would not work expected because JavaScript will set number of times to define. So let's try to uh, uh, print this or call this function with just one argument, which is hello world, not with this number of times. If I run this, what it is nothing gonna happen. So let me clear output. If I do this again, you can check nothing is happening. So we'll use our debugging technique. I teach you console.log, and then we will print both the values. So we'll print string and str, then we'll also print this number of times, which will be number of times. And if I run this code, let me check what is going to happen. If I am running this code, you can check str is hello world, but number of times is undefined. Okay, this is number of times. If I run this number of times is undefined. Okay, so now let me read it again. If you call this function with one argument, it would not work as expected because JavaScript will set number of times to undefined. Okay, so now to get rid of this problem, we introduce this default argument. Okay, so now let's add default values to the parameter. So while creating this function, we can declare a default value. We can declare a default value for str. I'm declaring a default value of hello. This time not using world, I'm just putting value hello, and for the number of times I'm giving the value as 4. Okay, so now what will happen if I run this code? So first, our function have some default values. For str it has hello, and for number of times it has 4. So first I will just print the function without, let me comment out this, and I will print without any argument. I'll just call it print function and I will check what is going to happen. Let me clear the console. If I run this code, you can check it has printed str as hello. Okay, and number of times as 4, which is the default value, and hello is printed 4 times. Okay, if I read with the default argument, the function becomes more versatile. Call without any argument, use default value. We have call it without any argument, so it is using default value. So now call with one argument overrides the first parameter, second remains default. So if I put just one argument, I'm just putting this hello world. Okay. So if I run this now, so you can check. Okay, let me just comment out this. Let me comment out this previous call. Okay, so now let me clear the console. Now if I run this code, you can check now this str, this default value, because I have give a argument hello world, so the default value hello is replaced by this hello world. Okay, override by this hello world, and number of times are still same, 4. So it has printed hello world 4 times. So let's read. Call with one argument overrides the first parameter, second remains default. Okay, it override the first parameter str hello to hello world, and second is still same. So now call with both arguments uses provided values. So now I'll call it with both the arguments. I'll call it with, let's do it hello.js, and I'll give the value as 3. Okay. So now if I run this code, you can check str is now hello.js. Okay. And number of times is now 3, and it has printed hello.js 3 times. So call with both arguments uses provided values. Okay. Now let's go to summary section. Okay. So default arguments in functions provide flexibility, allowing functions to operate even when some arguments are not provided. So this feature is handy for setting common default values and accommodating various use cases with a single function definition. Hey guys, welcome to this lecture, Introduction to Arrow Functions in JavaScript. So what we'll learn in this video: the concept and syntax of arrow functions, differences between traditional functions and arrow functions. So what are arrow functions? Arrow functions, introduced in ES6 ECMAScript 2015, offer a more concise syntax for writing functions. They are best suited for non-method functions. Okay, so let me write a normal function and let me create the same function with arrow function, and let's see what's the difference there. Okay, so let me write a function, and then function name is hello, and it will be just printing console.log. It will be just printing hello world. Okay, we have our method hello. It will be printing hello world in the console. So if I run this hello method, so if I run, it will print hello world in the console. Okay, so the same thing we'll write with the arrow function. So how can we write this? So let me comment down the whole code first. So edit. So I have selected the whole code, then edit, and then toggle block comments, and my code is commented. Okay, so now let's write this. Okay, so for arrow function, first we will start with const, then hello, the function name. So if you check the structure, the same as a variable structure, okay, or same as a object structure. While declaring objects, we do the same thing. Okay, so now const hello, our function name, and then we have to give this, and now there will be a parenthesis, then again is equal to, and then we will give arrow sign, and then we'll put a curly brace, and inside curly brace we'll write console.log, this statement, this hello world statement. Okay, let me do it, and now let's call this hello, and let's check what is going to happen. Okay, if I run this, it will print hello. So if you check the structure, so with traditional, we first declare this with a function keyword, then we write this function name, and then the function body. And if you check arrow function, we have not used this function keyword. We started with const, like we are declaring a normal variable or object, and then we give a is equal to, and then we give a parenthesis, then is equal to, and then this arrow sign, and then we have our method body. Okay, this is our function body. So we can also give parameter here. So we have to put parameter here. We can give this, like I'm giving name. Okay, and hello will print hello, and it will print your name here. Okay, hello, same as greet function and name. So now if I call this hello function with a name like Bob, so if I run this, you can check it has printed hello Bob. Okay, so now let's read from here. The basic syntax of arrow function. Here's how you can define a simple arrow function. So yeah, const grid. So this is the function name, and then is equal to, and this is the parameter we have given. Okay, this is the parameter, and then is equal to, then arrow, and this is the method body. Okay, console.log, and this hello, this name, and how you can call this the same way. So now let's read comparing traditional functions and arrow functions. The same function will declare with three different styles. Okay, so let me comment down this code first. Selected all the code and then edit, and then toggle block comment. It will comment down all the code. So now we'll create a function which will return square. Okay, which will return square of two numbers. So we'll do function and then square. Okay, the function name is square, and then we have to give parenthesis, and inside parenthesis we have to set the parameter, and then with curly braces we will return number into number. Okay, so now if I run this code, so I can directly do console.log, and I can call this function square number, which will return the value and it will print in the console. Okay, so number I have to give a argument, so I have given 5. Okay, so now if I print this, run this code, you can check the output is 25. Okay, so now this function we can write with other way. So for now, let me comment out this function. So if you don't know, this function is a square. This function name is square, and it is taking a number and it is returning the square of this number. So number, the same number into same number. Okay, the square of the number it is returning. So now let me comment down, edit, and then block comments, and then we'll write the same function in other way. Yeah, let me organize this. Okay, now it's fine. So now we'll start with const, and we'll start with square. This function name will be same. Okay, let me, sorry, square, and now I can define function, and now I can put a parameter, and then with double braces I can do the same statement, return. Our body is same. If you check our body is, we are just returning number into number. Our body is saying, just defining the method of defining the function is different. Okay, so now, so this is also not an arrow function. This is a traditional function I'm using. After this, I will go with this arrow function. Okay, so now let me do console.log and then square. And now if we put a value of 6, it should give 36. Okay, 6 into 6. So if I run this code, what is this problem? Let me check what is saying. Square is not defined. Okay, now it will be fine. Okay, and there is a spelling mistake. Okay, typo. So now I have run this code and now it's 36. Okay, which is working fine. Let me try the value of 5. Let's check. It is 25. Yes, working fine. So this is another method. So this is a method we have learned in previous videos, and this is a new method you can check. Like we start with const, how we define arrow function. We start with, so now const square, and then we have declared this keyword function we have used, and then you can put this number parameter and it will return the square. Okay, so now if you call this, the same thing is happening. So now let me comment down the whole code, and now we'll do this for an arrow function. We'll declare the same with the arrow function. So for arrow function, we have to start with const and then square. Okay, the function name, and then you can put the parameter. So either you can put without a parenthesis, but it's always a best practice. I'm putting it with a parenthesis, this number, and then you have to is equal to, and then arrow, and then number. It will return number into number. Okay, it will return number into number. This will be like this. Now if I do console.log, okay, and square, and if I put a value, like let's do a 3 this time, so it will be 3 into 3, 9. If I run this, yeah, the output is 9. Okay, so the same thing, this is the function we have learned in our previous videos, how we declare a function, and this is another way of declaring function, and this is the way of declaring arrow function. Okay, if you check this thing and those traditional ways, So if you read from here, so it's more concise. Okay, the syntax for writing functions. Nice. So let's learn handling multiple parameters and no parameters. So here we have learned first with this arrow function, we have learned we can do with parameter and no parameter. At first we have learned, then we have learned we can use a function with parameter, arrow function with parameter, and then we'll also learn with multiple parameter. Let's learn with multiple parameter. I will create a function, arrow function called add, and I will give values a, b, and c. Okay, three values, and so now it will return the value of a plus b plus c. Okay, so now if I do console, sorry, it's console.log, and if I call this function add 2, 5, and 1, let's see what is going to happen. Yeah, it's 8. Okay, 8 is printed. Fine. Let's do one more const. So let's do it with for average. Okay, and average will take a, b, and c, and then it will return the value of a plus b plus c by 3, and let's call it console.log, and we will get average, and we have to pass the argument, we have to give value, which I'm giving 15, and then 10, and then 20. So if I do the average, okay, sorry, syntax error. If I do the average, it will be 11.6. Okay, let's take a easy number. Let's take 10, 10, and 10. Let's check the average. Okay, yeah, it's 10. So let's try with other values. So it will be 30 plus 20 plus 10. So if I do it, you can check the value is 20. Yeah, perfect. So let's learn this thing again. We have already learned arrow function without parameters, but let's learn again. Let's do exercise here. Const log message, and then you have to is equal to, then parenthesis, then is equal to, then arrow sign, and this will be together, and then console.log, and it will print logging a message, logging a message. Okay, so now if I print, if I call this function, I don't have to use console.log because I already have console.log in this function. Okay, return type is already of void, it's not going to return anything, it will just print. Okay, so let me do it, log message. Okay, so if I print this, you can check logging a message is printed. Okay, that's it. Let's end our video with summary. So arrow functions offer a shorter syntax for writing functions in JavaScript. Thank you for watching this video. Hey guys, welcome to this video calling a function inside a function in JavaScript. So this this lecture will be an interesting lecture because in big kind of applications, we create multiple functions and we create multiple functions calls inside a single function, or this function is nested with another function. So those kind of thing happen in a big application. So those things we'll explore in this chapter, in this lecture. So what we'll learn, the concept of calling a function inside another function, practical examples of nested function calls. Yes, we're gonna build a practical system like a login system, you can say, and we'll check this thing. Okay, so now benefit of using nested function we will learn. So why call a function inside a function? So calling a function inside another function allows for code reuse, modularity, and separation of concerns. It helps in organizing code and making it more maintainable. So basic examples of nested functions. So let's start with a simple example where we have two functions, one to calculate the square of a number and another to calculate the sum of the squares of two numbers. Okay, so let's do it. So let's start with this thing. Okay, so what we'll do, we'll create a function which will return the sum of squares of two numbers. Okay, so sum of square, let's do it with the arrow function. Now we know arrow function, let's do it. We have two parameters, a and b, and then inside method body it will return. So what it should return, either we can do it like this, a into a, okay, square of a plus square of b, okay, square of b. So we can do that. So if I do the console.log and sum of squares, and if I do with 3 and 1, so it will be 10. So yeah, output is 10. Okay, so let's check with another output, so which is 13. Okay, 3 and 2, the squares of the sum of squares for both of them is 13. So okay, it's fine. So now what we can do, instead of doing this directly here, we can call a function here. Okay, so we can create a function, like, to make it easy, const, and this will be square. So previously we have created the similar type of function which will take a parameter called number and which will return the square of that number. Okay, number into number. So we have this method, and now we can call this method here. So let me write copy and paste at the top. Okay, now it's fine, it's looking fine. Okay, so now instead of doing this directly, what can we do? We can do return, and then we can call this function here. Okay, so we can call square of a plus square of b. Okay, so if I run this, it will give us same output. Okay, 13, the same output. Okay, so this you can tell me, like, you can have a question, like, it's a simple method, it's a simple thing, why we are doing this inside this. So if you think about a big system, there a function inside a function, there will be lots of code. To check a single functionality, we have to write a lot of code, and we do all the things separated. So I already told you the reason why we do that. So calling a function inside another function allows of code reuse, modularity, and separation of concerns. Okay, this thing is really important, separation of concerns. So now let's build a real life system, and let's check what is going to happen when you do this kind of method inside, we call method inside the method. What is the benefit, real benefit of it? So one, I'm just commenting out the whole code, selecting all code, edit, and then block comments. Okay, so now I'm also clearing the console, clearing output. Okay, so now building a user access system. So let's use nested functions to build a simple user access system with following functionality. So check if the user is logged in, and check if the logged in user has access to a specific resource. So let me write down both of them here. Okay, let me organize it first. Let me do it. Okay, let me give a line break. Okay, so first we'll check if the user is logged in, and we'll check if the logged in user has access to the specific resource. Okay, so it's kind of simple, like if you are watching think you are watching a Udemy course, like Udemy first check, like if you are logged in or not to watching this content, and then it will check like if you have access, you have paid the price for it, and then you can only watch that course. Okay, so now let's go and create some user. So this will be our user. Okay, let me create those user. So let user one, and we'll start with one user. Okay, so the name of the user is, I think we have John. Yeah, and then we have a role for the user. So the role of John is admin. Okay, so now our user is created. Okay, so now what we'll do, we'll create a method first to check if user is logged in. Okay, so let's do it. We'll create a method const, and is user logged in, and we'll pass the user as parameter, and then it's a arrow function, and we'll check return user not is equal to null and undefined. Okay, undefined. Okay, yeah, we are done with it. Okay, let me put user here. So now what this method is doing, it's checking if user is not null and user is not undefined, it will give yeah, user is logged in. So now we'll create has access method to check if the logged in user has access to the specific resource or not. Okay, so let's me create this method. So const has access. So it will be an arrow function. Inside parenthesis, we'll give the parameter as user, and then is equal to arrow, and then inside curly braces we'll put our method body. So first we'll check if the user logged in, and inside this method we'll pass our user. So if the user is logged in, sorry, so actually okay, now it's fine. So now if the user is logged in, then we will check if the user has specific role or not. Okay, so if the user is logged in, then we will check if the user has role, user dot role is equal to admin, or user dot role is equal to editor. Okay, so we'll check that, otherwise return false. So what this method is doing, basically has access method, it is taking user parameter, and then now inside this method it is calling is user logged in method to check if the user is logged in. So otherwise it is returning false, and if the user is logged in, then it is checking the user role has admin or editor in it or not. So now we have our first user1, which is the name is John and role is admin, which is a proper user. The value is not null or not undefined. So obviously it has a role admin. So let me do this console.log, and we'll do this has access, and we'll check for user1 has access or not. So it will return true. If I run this, it will return true. Why? Because when I'm calling this has access method, so this user is passing through here, and inside this it is calling this, because it is calling is user logged in, and then it is checking, yeah, this user is not null or not undefined. So that's why it is returning true. Then inside this block it is checking, yeah, this user have the role admin, so it is returning true. So let me create another user, which is user2, and the username is Bob, and user okay, let's check from our user list. So user role is viewer. Okay, so now if I do the same thing, console log for user2, if I do it, so what will happen? It will say false. Okay, because at that place this has not role admin or not a editor. This user is not a admin or not editor. That's why it's don't have access to this specific resource. Okay, so let me create one more user, which is user3, and I'm giving as null, not a value here. So if I run this with user3, so it will return false. Okay, so this user, this is not logged in. Okay, we can do it more specific by adding some console.log. So let's do it using some console.log. It will help us in debugging. So let's do it. The console.log. So we'll be writing inside is your user logged in function. Okay, and we will print the user also. So user is equal to user. Okay, so it will print user here, and also it will give this value. We have other console.log, and it will print this value, it is returning true or not. Okay, let's do it here. So is logged in, and here we'll put this to check this value. So now inside has access, we'll do the same. Inside has access, we will give like inside has access function. Okay, and we'll print the user, and then if it is true, will be here. We'll do console.log, and we'll do has access. We'll do here has access, and then We'll print user's role. Let's do it from here. User dot role, and we'll do also user dot name. Okay, so we'll print both of the values, and then we'll also check this console dot log and has access, and then this value. Okay, this value. Okay, fine, we have added some of the debugging console.log. Now we'll check by calling one by one function. Let me first comment down both of the console log, the last ones. So we'll first do it for this user one. So I'm just clearing this console. Okay, so now if I run this code, you can check. So first it is inside. So when I'm calling this has access, it is directly going to inside has access function, and user is object. Okay, so inside it is passing inside here. Okay, and because this user is an object, so that's it's showing as object. And now you can check inside is user logged in. So now it is going inside, sorry, so now it is going inside this function here. Inside is user logged in function. Okay, so now it is also printing this user, which is object, showing as object. Now it is checking is user logged in true. So if you check, this is returning this logged in, and this thing is, this value is true because yes, this user is not null or not undefined. And now it is going here because it's true. So now it's going here console.log has access. You check, and it is printing the username and user role, which is John, and the role is admin. And now this has access is true. Okay, this has access is true. Okay, and now it is also printing this console.log is printing true here. So let's do it with user 2. What is happening for user 2? So let me clear the console, and if I run this, so for user 2 the same thing is happening. So you can click command and your mouse button. Okay, so it will take you inside this method. So it's first calling this inside has access function, and then user is showing as object. And now you can check it is directly going to this method, and here it is checking inside is user logged in function, and then user this object. Now it is going here is user logged in, and which is it's returning true because this user is not null or not undefined. Then it's coming here again. Okay, so then it's coming here. If you check, so this has access, this is showing as has access, and this username and then user role. And now it's checking this user role is admin or not. So now you can check this is false because this user's role is viewer, and at the end, like, this console.log is printing false. Now we'll do this for user 3. So if I run this, so you can check, so it is first going inside has access method. So if I click command and mouse click, so it will take you has access. This thing is executing. Okay, now it is going inside is user logged in. So it is going here, and if you check console.log, inside is user logged in function, and the user is null. Okay, so that's why this is returning as false. Okay, so that's directly returning false from here. So because this is false, it is coming here and it is returning false. And now with this console log, it is printed false. So that's it for this video. I hope like it's a little bit of confusing and we have learned a lot of things here. Okay, so let's move to our next things and let's end this video. This is I think this video will be too big. So in this example, is user logged in called inside has access to check if the user is logged in. Has access then check the user's role to determine if they has access. So let's learn benefits of nested functions. Code reuse. Functions can be reused within other functions without duplicating code. Modularity breaks down complex problem into smaller manageable functions. And separation of concerns. Each function can focus on a single task, improving readability and maintainability. So that's it for this video. Happy coding.